guys, it's M4J here and welcome back to New Gardcity here on City Skylines. Today we are completely rebuilding the main gateway to the city. Not to be confused with Gardcity Gateway or New Gardcity Gateway, which is the freight terminal, which was also going to get rebuilt in the not too distant future. This one is basically me realizing that the entranceway to the city was in a really bad way. Plenty needed to be changed. The traffic was getting a little bit ridiculous, and I actually have the Overpass set, which I got off the workshop. God, how many weeks ago? 3-4 weeks ago now, and never really used. And originally I was going to use it to fix some of the issues I'd been having over at the freight terminal, and I will still be doing that, don't get me wrong. But I also thought perfect opportunity to actually use it here as well, and just help with the entrance to the city a little bit more, make it a little bit easier to drive in and out of. And I kind of come at this from a driver myself. The worst thing when you drive to a city that you've not been to before is trying to figure out the road layouts. It's an incredibly stressful process, believe me. Particularly when you've got people who've lived there all their lives holding down the horn right behind you and making your life a nightmare. It's not particularly pretty. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this. So, the entryway to Gardcity now is going to have... I keep saying Gardcity. You know I mean New Gardcity, so I'm just going to keep referring to it as Gardcity from now on. I think we get the idea. Anyway, it was a 2-lane road that ran to the roundabout, and then around the roundabout, and then into the city via the actual city gate, and then into Guard Square. Now, it's a 6-lane road that then turns into a T-junction, which might sound a bit dumb, until I explain that there is going to be a flyover on the main road. So if you come off the motorway and you're heading towards the city centre, you can take the flyover and that will direct you over the junction. If you're wanting to turn left, then there'll be a little slip road which you'll see get built towards the end of the episode, and if you're turning right, you'll use the main road, you'll head down to the T-junction, and then there's a set of timed traffic lights where you can make your turn. It's all very simple, right? Sounds very simple indeed. How's he going to fill half an hour, I hear you asking? Well, as it turns out, this set of assets is very, very easy to use if you know what you're doing. And Muggins here has never used something like this before, and even though I'd watched the tutorial video about 4 or 5 times at this point, I still didn't really know what I was doing. So you'll see me make quite a few mistakes along the way. I do in the end have a system that kinda works. Even now, I have watched the traffic since, and I've made a couple more tweaks off camera, as I always do. But there's a few useful things that I've picked up here as well, don't get me wrong. One of which is how to utilize the new tram roads that I've found going forward. So I don't use the tree-lined ones anymore, I use something a little bit different. I think this is me trying to work out how to make the overpass actually have a bridge rather than have the walls either side of it. Took me a while. I thought in the time-lapse I might cut all this out actually, but there we go. Right, back on with the build. So yeah, I use a new set of tram roads for this side of the project, and I think I will utilise more of this across the rest of the city from now on. In fact, is this me using it here? No, this is me using the old one still, which I'm not a huge fan of. I do like it, but I think I mentioned this last episode. I don't like the fact that the tram tracks share a lane with the road. So that to me is really useful for something more like, trying to think of a good example, and you know what, I'm struggling, so maybe not throw an analogy in when you can't actually think of one. But yeah, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a huge fan of the fact that a main road also has tram lines running down the actual paved section. So I wanted to segregate the road from the tram. And with this rebuild, I've also been able to do that. So now, along this main road, the tramway runs in its entirety separate from the rest of the road traffic, which is a big plus in that instance. On top of that, I'm just reminding myself how awful this was when I built it. Really bad. And actually, the road you'll see me moving here I'm not a fan of the way that it chooses the way that the road markings go based on which direction you built it from. So you see there I built it from left to right, whereas I'd actually wanted it to go from right to left. And the only way to fix that is to delete it and rebuild it in the other direction. You can't use the one-way tool and then right click. It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. Really annoying that it doesn't work that way. So again, I'm not a huge fan of that. That is quite annoying, but I suppose we get over it, don't we? It's not the worst thing in the world that's going on right now. But yeah, the tram. That's what I keep going to talk about. So the tram is now fully segregated from the rest of the road here, which is a massive bonus. Massive bonus. Very happy with that as well. This thing here as well, just trying to build it all. I know you're supposed to use Move It and you're supposed to use Anarchy and all sorts of things like that, but oh my days, was it just a struggle and a slog getting it all to work. It does work, I'm pleased to say. You'll see me build and rebuild and rebuild and rebuild and rebuild a few times during this episode. But I kind of want to use most of this. I should have cut some of this out. Better editors than me would have. But I kind of wanted to use this as an opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit more about what the plans are for this. Because, this series went away for a little bit. I had some problems with the game. I still have some problems with the game. That's not been fixed just yet. But I have sort of found a new lease of life with this series now. And one of the things that I want to do next week, I haven't recorded it yet, so it may not happen. But I'll talk about it now and, let me know in the comments what you guys think. George pointed me to a video about the intersection marking tool mod, which I have got and I have used. I'm trying to remember where I used it. It was down at the freight terminal, I believe. But it's been updated recently, and one of the things that has been added in the update is the ability to fill areas as well as mark areas. You actually use the areas that you've marked as the basis to fill them. Now that is perfect because, for example, things like the magic roundabout. I love the magic roundabout. I think I actually did quite a good job building it the first time round. Normally it takes me 2 or 3 goes to get it right, but I think I got that one pretty spot on first time round. One thing I didn't like about it was the 90-degree turns going on and off the actual roundabout sections themselves. Now it's not the lane, it's not the intersection marking tool, but there is another mod called the node controller, I believe it's called, which I have also now got, which allows you to customize different junctions and, well, nodes, clues in the name. So I will be using that next week for the magic roundabout, as well as the intersection marking tool. And the idea is going to be to completely edit the magic roundabout without deleting any roads. I'm not going to shift anything or move anything or anything like that, but I'm going to use the node controller to smooth out the junctions a little bit more, and then I'm going to use the intersection marking tool to customize it and make it look freaking awesome, if I do say so myself. And boy, is it going to look awesome when it's done. The plan is to have different sections filled in with different colors. So for example, areas where you're not allowed to drive are going to be colored with the M4J red, and lanes where, if you're in the right hand lane, for example, and it's right turn only, that's a really bad example. If you're in the left lane and it's left turn only, then it will be marked out in M4J blue, so you'll know where you're allowed to drive and where you're not allowed to drive. I'm really looking forward to actually getting that done. I think that will look fantastic, and the videos that I have seen of it working, there's a very good tutorial. It has been linked in the M4J Discord, so if you want to go check it out, head to the video links chat. You should be able to access it now. Only patrons are allowed to post in it, but I think anyone can read messages in it now. If you can't, let me know. Main hub is probably the best place to comment that, and I'll change the permissions again. But yeah, that was a really good video that was linked. And again, it's just given me a ton of ideas. I kind of want to work a little bit more on the aesthetics of the city now as well. So right now, again, I'm kind of at that mentality where it's a bit like with OpenTTD. I ask people what kind of things they'd like to see, and a lot of the responses has been things like new railway, new road, new airport, whatever it might be, just new stuff. And I think sometimes you do have to kind of stop, go back, and look at what's already been done, and make little tweaks here and there, because it's not so much running out of ideas, but you do get moments where you just want to take a break from building new stuff, and a really good way of doing that is to go back and fix old stuff, because then you kind of learn from those mistakes that you've made in the past as well. and that can end up being a massive, massive boost, not just for your motivation and such, but also your creativity. You can come up with some new cool ideas and build them in the city. So yeah, the idea of redoing the Magic Roundabout is to come up with ideas for other intersections in and around the city in the future, and get to building them at various points. But yeah, again, if you have any ideas for what kind of things you'd like to see added to the city, feel free to comment them down below. I did ask last week for some ideas, and I did have one. I think I had a couple. But yeah, the one in particular is from Frank Berry, who would like to see a district of UK terrace houses complete with corner shops and pubs. We do kind of have that, but not very well implemented. I think that's a fair comment to make. So yeah, Lafayette has kind of terraced houses and old style corner shops and pubs and things like that. But you know, it's meant to be the old town part of the city, and it kind of is. You know, it kind of is. I'm not saying it isn't, but it needs a rejig. So yes, Lafayette will also be reworked during the next few weeks, and as part of that, we will add the old style houses and the old style pubs and shops and things like that. Try and make it look like a classic British high street before they all close down. It's really sad to see that actually when you drive through. I always love it though when people are saying, "Oh, the high street's doomed," and then they go home and buy something on Amazon because it's £2 cheaper. You know, we're all hypocrites. We're all hypocrites. No one's perfect. We all do it. We all moan about the state of the high street, and then we all go home and buy something online because it's cheaper. So you know, let's all get off our high horses for a minute and just think about our words and our actions. But yeah, that's one idea. But if you have any others, feel free to comment them down below. The railway, you might notice, is missing in this video after I built it last time out. Bear in mind that there was sort of 3 weeks between me recording last week's episode and me recording this week's episode, and in that time I went and removed a load of rail assets, I went and switched out a load of rail assets, and in the process I went and deleted a lot of the railway in the city. At the moment, the passenger rail has been replaced by just the default rail that you get in the game, the vanilla one. The forgot my words again. The the default rail, sorry, the freight rail has also been replaced by default rail. I think everything's default, even the pillars and the catenary and everything. It's all just default for now. Couldn't be bothered to change it. But yeah, the reason I did that was so that I can have a complete rethink about the rail system in and around Gardcity, because I've seen some very, very good videos on Reddit, some very, very good videos on YouTube, and I feel very, very self-conscious about the way I build railways, because, you know, I play OpenTTD, I'm the railway king, allegedly, and yet when it comes to City Skylines, Cities in Motion, I was really good at building metro lines. You know, again, I was kind of the rail king. I would build the metro lines with the express tram. Tramlink, is that what we called them? Can't even remember now. Running through the middle. Actually, Tramlink is something that I would like to bring back here as well, and maybe have like a right rail system, a light rail system that's segregated from the street, which we kind of have. We have some sections where the tram is grade separated, especially the underground section going into Guard Square. But I'm kind of talking about a fully segregated system, either using tram or using metro track with DLR style trains, and just have it fully segregated, as well as the bus rapid transit, because again, transport is something that I keep reworking and reworking and reworking and reworking and reworking, and eventually I am going to have to pick one and stick to it, or at least pick a style and stick to it. But I think one of the problems is I build something like a district, and then I build all the transport to do with that district, and then I either rebuild the district or I build another district next to it which requires a rebuild of the transport infrastructure of the existing district, and then it all gets a little bit confuddled and messed up and stuff like that. So eventually there will come a point where I stop building new districts. There are a couple more still to go. There's some green space in and around the city that still needs to be filled. The Yards, which is now the name of the new shopping district right next to Guard Square Station. I really like that suggestion. I'm amazed, because I used the lanes as an example of you know, how to name a shopping district. And no point did I think, oh, the yards, that's a good one because it's built on the old railway yard. So George again suggested that in the comments. Thank you very much for that. So that is the name of the new shopping area. And that's going to fill that green space nicely. But the other side of the road, I suppose we've got the parks there now. That kind of fills that. But then alongside the rail, particularly the main rail, the non... what's the word? The rail that goes out and crosses the borders. Regional. Jesus, I swore then as well. Apologies. The regional rail that comes into the city along that corridor. There's going to be there are going to be other rail yards and stuff. There's going to be sidings and all good stuff there. But on top of that, there is going to be residential and office and all kinds of stuff built alongside it. I watched a really awesome video, and again, I should probably credit the person. This was on YouTube. Let me find it quickly. It was a first-person tram ride. Skibbeth. Apologies if I've just butchered your name. City Skylines, Little France, the first tram ride, number 42 is the name of the video. I wish I could tell you when it was uploaded. I will have to go on it and find out, I suppose. But I've got a playlist loaded at the moment. I don't really want to lose that. Selfish, I know. Again, I apologise. I'm a terrible content creator today. Effing and jeffing and all kinds of nonsense going on right now. But yeah, the video itself is awesome, and some of the things that Skibbeth has done with the tram line, it does run down the centre of the road, but there's a bit where it's elevated and it runs through a building, and there's an elevated station which just looks fantastic. If that was a procedural object station, that is an awesome build. If it's an asset, I would really love a link to it on the workshop, because I think that would look fantastic in New Gardcity, particularly in Lafayette, having an elevated station. It might actually be possible to use Touch This to swap out station track, rail track with tram track. We'll see about that. If that is possible, I think I might do it. We shall see. But yeah, just awesome. So good looking. So good looking. Like, annoyingly good looking. When I see other people's creations sometimes on Skylines, I do find myself despising that individual because they're so damn good at the game. It's so frustrating. Where I kind of, I don't hate what I've done here. Don't get me wrong, but there are times where I kind of load the game up and just think, oh, it's not the best looking thing. Let's be perfectly honest. It will get better though. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing the rebuilds right now, is to make the city look a little bit nicer. This road here, you can see me struggling with. Oh, I love this the asset. The Overpass asset is fantastic. I am never going to criticize that. It's awesome. I adore it. However, the Overpass bit itself, or this one here where it's got the blue stripe going down the middle, what an arse it is to try and get that to work. What an arse. So annoying. So damn annoying. And this is where I talked earlier about build, rebuild, because it's annoying. It's annoying. And just watching it back now, it's annoying. This is the first time I've used it though, so I'm not criticizing the asset. I'm criticizing my ability, or inability as it were, to use said asset. So as I use it more often, I will learn how it works, and the build will improve from that. But right now, dearie me, is this painful to watch. You might not notice it. There we go. I've just noticed it. I had the max segment length set completely wrong, and that's why it wasn't working. Once I fix that, it's a lot nicer. This junction doesn't look as pretty as it did at the start. I realise that. However, it will look a little bit prettier momentarily when I actually come back and do some detailing work and good stuff like that. And again, here I'm just fighting to get this damn thing to work. You have to build from that side. There we go. He's nailed it, ladies and gentlemen. And then connect this bit up. Once you've got this bit sorted, there we go. And then you take the 6-lane section and you connect that up. There we go. I do love the way that it flows effortlessly from a 6-lane to a 4-lane with a 2-lane in the center. That's really cool. Because there's no glitching or anything like that. There's no vehicles flying through the air or any of that nonsense. It literally just works, and it's fantastic to see. I'm very, very happy with that. Trying to get these slip roads to work again, though, is a little bit of a fuff. Fuff? What's fuff? A little bit of a faff. Try using my words correctly this time. It is a little bit of a faff. I do get there in the end, and it's a lot nicer. Using Anarchy as well, there must be a trick to it. I'm sure there's a trick to it. Maybe using Move It helps. But yeah, sometimes using Anarchy you end up with these really weird shapes, which again I'm not a huge fan of. And there is also a mod where if you use the lane connectors on Traffic Manager, it will cover up the medians of roads. So you can see here, for example, where these two slip roads join. There's that gap where, in theory, a car from the north slip road or the top slip road here can then drive onto the south one, or the bottom one. But because I'm not using that here, it's left turn only because they are slip roads onto the main road. It actually works better to not have that median there. So there's a way where you can use the lane connectors, it will connect all up, and then it will block, well, it will re-add the median where there is no vehicles. I really can't find my words again today for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with me. Basically, it will replace the median, so it will cover up the gap. That's what I meant to say. That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Which I love. I love that idea, so I will perhaps be looking at getting that mod as well. I think what stopped me before was it had some compatibility issues, which I believe have now been resolved. I will check that they have been resolved. Every mod now, you might not have seen this the other day, I had some issues on loading the game up. I think it was to do with the rail assets and the way that I chose to replace them. So that's on me, I'm afraid. But the issue I had has made me a little bit more self-conscious now about the way I deal with mods and assets. So if there's a compatibility issue of any kind, then I will not be using the asset. That's the long and short of it, I'm afraid. Which, you know, it makes sense. I don't want to break anything. I don't want to break the game. I'm really attached to this city. That's the thing. I'm really attached to this city. So I don't want to do anything now to break it. Because at this moment in time, if I break my save, I won't start a new one. That will be the end of me playing City Skylines. Because you do get attached. And it really does upset me when I'm attached to a save and then it breaks. And I've had that in the past. You know, Cities in Motion 2, when I brought that back. There was a few reasons why that series ended again. But one of them was the fact that the game kept crashing. And, excuse me, you just get to the point where no matter how much you love a game, no matter how much you love a save, you can't deal with the heartbreak of it, well, breaking on you all the time. So there is a time where enough is enough. And we reached that one, unfortunately. So I really don't want that to happen here, because I'm adoring this series and the city, and I know you guys are as well. Because for the first time in ages, you were asking where the videos were when they stopped being uploaded for a while, which normally tells me that people are actually watching this. Plus the viewing figures are quite good. We have a little mission going on at the moment to try and make this series as popular as the M4J network. I don't know if it could do that, to be honest, but you never know. You never know. Also, going back to assets again, this station asset here kind of reminded me. Part of the Patreon tier rewards, you know, New Gardcity is part of that now. So if you are a fan of this series and you would like to become a patron and get some rewards to do with City Skylines, the link is in the description to my Patreon. Check it out, see what you think. But yes, there is an transport hub that is going to be built very, very shortly in the city. I'm still trying to decide on a location for it, but I have decided that it will exist. And there's an awesome asset that I found on the workshop. It's a metro station with a bus station and 2 tram stations as all one building, and that is going to be the first transport hub that's going to be added as part of the Patreon rewards. I think I'm going to put it towards Shoreside, where Shoreside currently is, before it gets Shoreham, sorry, not Shoreside. Although Shoreham, yeah, I might keep that name as Shoreham and move Shoreside to the actual shore. That would be good. We'll see. Again, we'll see. But yeah, that's where the hub's going to go. Well, that's one idea for where the hub's going to go. The person whose Patreon reward it is, if you would like to comment down below as to where you would like it to go, I might send you a link, or if you ask for the link for the asset, I'll send it to you so you can have a look at it and decide where you would like it to be. I've already got the name suggestion for it, so I don't need that. I just need to know where it's going to go, and then I need to build the district around it and then plop it in. But that's kind of another strategy that I'm thinking of using from now on, is actually building the transport network first and then building the city kind of around it. Because one thing I learned from last week's episode is it can be very frustrating trying to build railway lines through an area that's very, very densely built up. So I didn't have the problem with the first 2 lines I built, but the second 2, dearie me, it was a bit of a nightmare. So that's going to be something to learn from now on. This junction here as well, you see me adding right turns, they all get removed. It's because there's no roundabout now, so the idea is if you're coming from the left hand side here and you want to turn to the bottom, you can't. You basically have to go up to Guard Square, turn around and come back again. But then, depending on how you do the lane connections and things, it makes people plan their journeys a little bit prematurely. So in this case now, they would actually go through Guard Square to come from what's now the top of the screen to be able to turn right. And that decision by the AI is made a lot earlier in the journey. If you actually focus on your junctions a little bit more, it's a kind of a good way to fix traffic. You kind of got to plan out journeys from start to finish. So in this case, when I put these right turns in, I wasn't considering that at all. I was mainly focusing on how to make trams have priority here. But again, the node controller mod will get used here to try and make this junction look a little bit more attractive. And then off camera, I think I did this. I went back and realized that it would be a lot nicer if I stopped having right turns on those junctions. So I do go back and take them all out. And here I'm just removing crossing because we don't want pedestrians getting in people's way. And then I add, because now you can't cross the road, and this is still, don't forget, it's got bike lanes and stuff down here. It's quite an important road. I don't know, actually, when there's cycle lanes, I don't know whether the bikes there are treated like road vehicles or if they're treated like pedestrians. I don't actually know. If someone does know, let me know in the comments. But because, you know, cycling is something that, I mean, I know I should be doing it a lot more often, but it's also something that I think most people should be doing more of if you're just doing short journeys. You know, you still get there faster, you're on wheels, but you're not polluting the environment all the time. Look at me going all eco-warrior suddenly. That's very unlike me. But yeah, the point I was going to make was, because we've now blocked off access to crossing the roads here, the solution, because yeah, I think bikes are treated like road vehicles here looking at it, because I can't see pedestrians crossing the road, but I can see bikes crossing the road. But yeah, I built this this underpass, which, not like seedy underpasses that you find in and around the UK, where you really wouldn't want to walk down there at night. I'm going to have this be a brightly lit underpass with nice music, lovely painted walls, anti-graffiti paint, because the yobbos aren't going to ruin this for us. Again, I'm on one today. I have no idea why. I'm just on one. But yeah, lovely underpass. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't find a pathway that actually allowed you to view the underground view. So, like, if I went first-person mode here, you would just clip into a concrete wall and then disappear through the world, which I don't really want to see that, in all honesty. Not that I'm going to follow many pedestrians at this moment in time, because there's nowhere really to... There's nowhere interesting, really, to follow them to. That's the issue. And I think here, yeah, I don't make this a bike thing, because I had it as a bike path originally, then I thought, hang on a minute. Bikes are using the road, and you can see the huge clumps of cyclists going through. It's awesome to see that, in fact. But yeah, for pedestrians, they use the underpass here, and then just so they can get from one side of the road here to the other, I build this really bad bridge that is most likely going to need move it to kind of make it look a little bit nicer. And then I do the same thing on this side, and there we go. It looks a lot nicer now. You can cross from one side of the road to the other, particularly because there's tram stops on both sides of the junction now as well, so it's a lot nicer to have those in situ. I do go and turn off the pedestrian crossings there. I think as part of node connector, node controller, I keep saying connector, node controller, I believe there is a dependency for that requires, I think it's the crosswalk remover mod, I think it's called. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I might fix some of these crosswalks with that. Anyway, I'm going to start wrapping up the video here because we are coming towards the end. Like I said, drop some comments down below and let me know what kind of things you'd like to see next time around. I know I've managed to fill an entire half-hour episode of me just building this interchange, but this took me nearly 2 hours to build. And I think other ones in the future, if I build them from scratch, are probably going to take less time, but I'll be able to do more of them in an episode. So some episodes will be building new districts, some episodes will be rebuilding old districts or things like this, you know, tweaking little things here and there across the city. Let me know what kind of things you'd want to see, and also let me know what kind of things you'd like to see me build as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you enjoyed the series. Drop those comments down below. Like I said, check out the Discord and the Reddit as well. The Discord especially, because we do have a chat there specifically for City Skylines, so feel free to join in the conversation. Besides all that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, I will see you soon.